Sounds good.
Hi, Jess.
Hi, Lauren.
How are you?
I'm doing well. Memorial Day weekend.
Woo woo. But we both have children, so
We're not doing much.
actually, you're doing
Well,
something.
yes, we have a wedding.
Yes.
But still figuring out the logistics of a wedding with a child. I'm going to be like coming back and forth between church and ceremony and pumping and all that fun stuff.
It's gonna be great, though. Congratulations to Sophia.
Yes, I don't know if Sophia listens, but shout out Sophia.
Alrighty, so today we have Summer House we're going to cover and The Valley. And we're going to hit on probably some other reality TV, but not too deep. Not too deep.
The other things we watch to fill the void because it's a little lighter of a schedule
I know,
on
right?
Bravo right now.
I mean, but Mormon, what is it?
Secret Lives of Mormon Wives.
I mean,
It's
so
so
hot,
good.
so fire. Right
They're
now.
just like a young Salt Lake City, like housewives.
Yeah.
It fills my void.
It's
for
crazy. The drama they have going on is crazy.
that. I know. I wonder how much is manufactured.
Anyway, but let's move on to Summer House. So we are recapping 2 episodes again. First of all, this one starts with Sierra and Jesse sitting on the beach. Doesn't it
Yes.
seem like that was like 4 years ago at this point?
I mean, I cannot tell you, even though this is all we're going to talk about now, how over Jesse and Lexi I am.
I know. I know.
Don't care. And someone put it into perspective. We now know they don't even film the whole summer. It's not like they go Memorial Day to
6
Labor
weeks.
Day. It's like 6 or 7 weeks, and someone like, can we stop talking about a 7-week relationship like 2 years later?
And they broke up twice.
Yes. I mean, good God.
I don't even remember the first one that well.
No, I don't either.
And everyone's talking about that now. Like, well, there's just you broke up with him again. It's
Right.
like, in 6 weeks? How do you break up with someone twice?
Yeah. Gotta call it quits there.
Okay, so Jesse and Sierra men sitting on the beach.
Yes.
But then Jesse goes back and basically is cuddling with Lexi and like says how he like wasn't pleased with Sierra because he gave a very heartfelt apology and Sierra like didn't really take
And
it.
Sierra said that she's like over it.
Right. Now, okay, let's just talk about moving on some of this. What do you think with Jesse? I don't think he's openly trying to manipulate, even though he seems to have a lot of this problem going on.
Right.
I feel like he's just a dumb.
Yeah. I do not think he went, I'm going to go talk to the girls to get them against
Right.
Lexi. I do believe him that he's like, they are my friends, and I wanted like the female perspective on it. And like they said, we're also jumping way ahead, but to that whole fight at the dinner table, she did not make the effort with the girls. She jumped into a relationship, and we all know how that goes. Like when a friend goes head first and you're like, oh, hi, like, do you exist anymore? All they're focused on. That's exactly what she did. She just only spent her time at every party. The two of them are glued to each other, whereas Amanda, Paige, and Sierra are always together at those parties. So of course Lexi didn't feel like she bonded with the girls.
Okay, so this is the real question then is like, are you team Lexi or are you not? Because this is like the hard part, right? Jessie is so toxic. We all get that. So you want to root for her, but the reality is she's not my type of girl at all.
So I've seen a lot of online polls with Bravo accounts, and the category that keeps winning is team neither. And that is exactly where I fall. Because, I don't support him in his love bombing ways. I do think, though, I think she uses, like, therapy speak a lot.
Yes.
And I think
I know exactly what you're talking about.
Exaggerates what he did into then, like, a category of why he's
It's
a
very
bad
Gen Z.
person.
It's like, it's not just that you miscommunicated. It's that he was pitting women and women against each other.
Yeah,
it's not just that you like love bombed. It's that, you lied to her and, projected certain things.
Yeah.
Like, it's not just what it is.
Right.
I totally agree though. So I listened to Nick's,
your favorite Nick Vial.
Nick's Vial's podcast. She was on there.
Yes, of course. But that's another thing that's driving me nuts.
She's everywhere.
The PR of it is driving
She's everywhere.
me. So is he. But like, that's where it's everyone's like, you are both running a campaign about a 7-week relationship.
Yes.
I don't care.
And so that's the thing. I think that's the net. Before I talk about Nick's podcast with her, but the net to me is that he's just a dumb boy. He doesn't understand what he did wrong in the relationship. And she's like, I hate having to train him. Relate to you on that. But the part that I do think he was manipulating is that he knew storylines get you airtime.
Yes.
But good press is bad press, doesn't matter.
Right.
I think he's been
No
quoted
press
saying
is bad press.
he's been quoted saying the hate is good for my algorithm.
Yeah.
So that part he knew, and that
Yes.
part he rode that wave on as hard as he possibly could. And the wave, I think, got away from him a little bit, but he rode it. So on Nick's podcast, she went on and on talking about everything. And to your point, Jessica, like nothing was like how a 27-year-old girl like should think about it or talk about it, or how I even was close to thinking about this. I would have went so hard on him. I would have been so nasty. I would have been so salacious. And everything is so PR speak.
She's super
coached.
Yeah.
Media trained.
I saw a amazing, whoever it was, again, a Bravo account just said, I think why we all are so over it is it's been a super short relationship. They said every Bravo relationship that ends does not need to be like the Ariana and Tom.
Yeah, right.
And it's so true. They were together for like 10 plus years.
Right.
That was huge. There was a big cheating scandal. That literally like broke the Bravo sphere wide open. Any relationship does not need to be like that.
Yeah,
and
scrutinize.
like she's trying to I think they were saying like she's trying to be like the Ariana edit.
Yeah.
We don't need to see her on every promo and ad like we did Ariana. Ariana like deserved it, and we all like rallied behind her. She was cheated on by a like slimy longtime boyfriend, whatever. But it's like, no, Lexi, I don't. Get over it.
No, it was 6 weeks. Okay, the other thing I would say is that there's a conspiracy theory going around that the cast made a pact with themselves that they were never going to do a lot of individual interviews. Because, like, if you think about it, like, Paige isn't really sitting there talking about a lot of stuff with, like, Jesse and Lexi.
Yeah.
Or the season. Sierra's not really talking. Amanda, maybe Amanda and
like
Kyle.
after Wes did the article, was
Yes,
it like,
right.
let's just say we're not going to do that? Okay.
And that's why the conspiracy is, that's why Lexi's on everything, because A, she wasn't part of that pact, and B, no one else will do the interview. Now, the only point of evidence I have on this is that Nick on the Lexi podcast said how he wanted to get Jesse on, and they went back and forth because Jesse wanted to pitch him an idea.
Oh.
And then after the reunion, Jesse then texted Nick and basically used Lexi as the excuse of why he wasn't going to come on Nick's podcast.
Because she'd been on it.
Because he wanted to, he didn't realize how bad she had gotten hurt, and like he wanted to stop like basically talking about it. Which none of that really tracks, Jessica.
Well, I feel like also, as far as I can think back, Amanda never does press.
Without Kyle.
It's only if they're together. And let's be honest, all of that relationship is so below Paige. She's being interviewed for like all her shit.
Right.
Like her and Craig has way surpassed
Which, by the way, I forgot that they broke up.
I know.
I mean, let's just jump to it. Like the end of it, the scenes were edited out.
Yes.
But you want to know why?
Why?
Oh my God. It's
Craig,
so obvious, Jessica.
Like lawyers?
No. Okay, so this is my theory that I thought of this morning on way too many cups of coffee, and now I'm actually seeing it and I'm like, no, this was my theory. So memorialize
Colors
this.
are speaking to her.
Yes. Okay, so they edited out the Craig thing because the spinoff is going to be Lindsay, Amanda, and Paige. And that was why we saw that. Because in that end scene, I kept sitting there thinking, like, why are we seeing so much of Lindsay breast pumping?
Yeah.
As new moms, I was like,
yeah,
I would hate that.
I was also like, I have that exact pump.
Yes, me too. I was like, the Spectra too. Great. Okay, love it that she's doing that. But I'm like, they were like zooming in on her, like adjusting it and stuff. And then Amanda says that thing of like, this is so Sex in the City of us. And Paige goes on that little rant that's like, did we ever think we were going to be here at age 30?
Right. Yeah.
And then there's another interview of Andy. Somebody caught him on like some sort of red carpet, or not a red carpet, but some sort of event. And they said, is Lindsay going to join the cast of Rooney? And he said, no, but she's good TV. We would never keep her off TV.
Okay.
And then, I mean, we've all been talking about like Lindsay's not coming back.
Right.
The other point I have is that Danielle clearly comes on as a producer plant and asks Lindsay live during the Halloween party,
yes,
like, you're not going to come back. You're not doing this again.
She's like, you're delusional if you don't think this is the end.
Right.
And I was like, Danielle is gleeful that Lindsay has to be done.
She's gleeful, but she always acts she always is the Greek chorus to what the production wants her to talk about.
Yeah.
So in my mind, that was, again, it was a plant. Like, it was a plant to gear up for this whole idea.
Right.
And then the other point I have is that Sierra was not at the breakup conversation.
Ooh, yes, I did wonder why was Sierra not there.
in
Because
my-
she'll still be on Summer House.
Because she'll still be on Summer House. Because her ratings are not good. Because nobody loves... I mean, there's a group that loves Sierra, but you don't love Sierra like people love Paige.
She's
like people love Lindsay
also
Hubbard.
a few years younger.
Right.
She's still in her late 20s. Paige is 32. Amanda's definitely at least 30 or 31. Like, I mean, I know that sounds like nothing, but in the ages of a Summer House, once you break into the 30s, it does make I feel like a difference.
And frankly, I think it costs a lot of money to have production follow around so many people in the city.
Yeah.
Sierra might not actually be in the city that often because of her, southern ties.
That's true.
And by the way, Sierra's been seen a lot with Jesse, so that makes sense that like she's gonna stick it with them.
Do you think that means the end of Kyle? And Kyle will just
Amanda's
be on
gonna,
the Amanda.
Yeah, Amanda's gonna be on. And that's why they put her as first seat at the reunion, is because they're trying to keep They're trying to keep the Kyle Amanda storyline alive because she all of a sudden decides that she's going to stay at the reunion, that he doesn't want to have kids with her.
Yeah.
And we're like, where did this come from?
So now we get the spin-off of them trying to figure out married life and what's next, her business, his business.
You can't tell me that Paige and Lindsay Hubbard are friends in real life.
I know. But I did hear that they are all still doing Summer House this summer.
Right.
To then have it be a lead-in to like the fall. They'll film them.
Yeah.
But I'm like, really? So will Lindsay seriously be there or just maybe pop-ins? And she's not a full-time. I mean, your daughter ain't coming to the Summer House.
But we see what they're doing, right? They're filming more in the city.
Yeah.
Amanda posted something that Lindsay is sitting with her daughter in a like park.
Oh, I saw that though, was debunked. Lindsay Hubbard commented on that and said, really cute idea, but I'm actually holding my friend's baby who has 2 kids. That was a deleted scene from this thing of Summer House.
Okay.
She was just meeting up with a friend who had kids while pregnant so she could like have a little time with a baby.
I think that they're showing us more scenes of the city because what Summer House has always done, remember back to the days of like Vanderpump?
Yeah.
Is they always infuse like the other thing that they're trying to do in the Summer House petri dish.
Yeah.
I mean, I've read that there's a conspiracy that like Summer House is the like test and learn for Bravo.
Right.
Anyway, back to the episode.
Let's just go to the family dinner. That was this week's. That was so awkward. And I actually loved, if Gabby is on next season.
She was great.
No, but like, she did nothing this entire season.
Yeah, right.
Like, she was the one that was gone some weekends, and I did not realize she wasn't there.
No, Jessica, I completely agree. I meant during that family conversation at dinner.
But I loved what West said in his confessional. He goes, Gabby's the only one at this table who hasn't had a relationship picked apart. So she doesn't get to just sit here for 3 years and judge everyone else's.
Yeah, true.
And it was true. I literally was like going down. Kyle and Amanda obviously have. Carl and Lindsay obviously have. Now Jesse, West. Paige has clearly had it with like all the Craig stuff. Sierra and West themselves. I was like, oh my God, yeah, Gabby's the only one sitting there like unscathed.
I agree, but Gabby has never been a main character.
No, but we don't need her. Bring in a more main character.
But I think her and Lexi have they've clearly grown close. Like you see that. And now I feel like if Paige, Amanda, and Lindsay leave, then you need Gabby back in the mix to hold it down. To me, Gabby is interesting, but
stop making sense, Lauren. I don't want her on.
Okay, she said a couple of things though at that dinner, and she also put her fingers in her ears. Did you see that?
No.
Like when Wes is talking, she had her fingers in her ears.
I did not see that.
She's like, Wes, no, I can't. Soft spotted me because now I've had a kid and now I do have soft spots versus before I would have never said this. Who would have stood up for Lexi? During that dinner, not one of them was going to stand up for her. Gabby was the only one.
I suppose.
I mean, I don't love Lexi, but
I know.
I do feel for her in the sense that she's basically not made friends with anybody else. So she's there the last weekend and it's all crashing down that she basically ruined her chance on this show because not only did she not make friends with anyone else, but now she's trying to poke the Sierra beast.
Yeah, well, I mean, just you wait. She'll be on next season though. She did secure a spot.
Right. But did you see Paige's face when Lexi said something to Sierra I don't trust you? Paige's face was like, oh shit.
Was like, that was not a good move.
Yeah, not a good move.
But also, did you catch that Paige was way more Team Jesse in that argument, because Gabby was going, "Oh, shut up, West," or whatever, and Paige went, "No, he can say what he wants to defend his friend."
And that's
she was defending like West and Jesse. I just had a small, does Boys Lie, the clothing brand, sponsor them? After they got into jammies, Sierra, Amanda, and Lexi are all wearing Boys Lie clothing brand. I was like, geez, is that like a cool girl clothing brand line? They're probably like $200 sweatshirts, you know, like it's one of those.
What did you think about Paige laying in the bed and talking about
her dream guy?
And it like had nothing to do with Craig.
Well, the height and like kind of the longer hair. Doesn't Craig sort of
in a suit? Hair? Like Craig like always wears like, you know, Southern kind of chic.
I do think it's a little weird to talk about like ideal physical traits when you're in a relationship. Isn't that like a weird thing to talk about?
Yes, Jessica. She's clearly like broken up with him in her mind at this point.
Yeah,
like
she's already fantasizing about the next boyfriend.
And I was like, I was thinking in my head, does that description match that Joe? What's his last name? D'Amelio.
I've already forgotten about him. They've done a good job if they really are still seeing each other in private. Like they have not been in the news at all of being together. And then one like funny clip when, you know, the guys go out for that night on the Friday and Kyle comes back in. I don't know if it's just production adding it, but you know, when he's like creeping in the room and Amanda's sleeping, I was like, that's me when the baby's sleeping. Trying to like avoid every creaky floorboard and you're just like, oh, I hit another one. Oh, that was too loud. Oh my God, well, we didn't even talk about what the point of the dinner, wasn't it the freedom dinner?
That was so stupid.
So stupid.
Also,
we literally forgot what the dinner even was. Like,
because Lindsay tried to make it about her.
Yeah.
But also Lindsay, like that was, okay, so think about the dinners that they've had and like Paige and she brings in like the chef and they sit outside. Lindsay's.
She got sandwiches.
Like Jimmy John's sandwiches, Jessica.
Yeah. And then I think producers were kind of making fun of her because they showed her having her phone call with Turner and she was like, it was pretty easy to set up and yeah, we just had sandwich. Like they like, why'd they show that stupid convo? It was like making fun of her. She's like, it was pretty easy to set up.
It was potato salad. Like Kyle's like, this potato salad's fire. I'm like, oh my God. Like I would be so embarrassed.
And then how she's like, not me showing up Carl because he brought sandwiches. I was like, no, you both brought sandwiches.
And I was like, is there any dessert? And she's like, there's wrapped cookies. Like, Jessica, like...
It was straight up from, like,
Jimmy corporate
John's.
America.
Yeah.
That's what we get at, like, a team meeting.
Have you noticed all the, like, paid Uber Eats placement? The product placement? Oh, my God.
I mean, well done, Uber Eats, to be
honest. There
are
so many in Secret Lives of Mormon Wives I've been noticing,
really?
too.
Really? Good
Poppy.
for them.
And I just saw one for Amazon.
Have you tried that Poppy, by the way? That's
disgusting.
disgusting.
I've had it once or twice. There was one flavor I liked, but I just don't drink soda.
It's like really
not to like
it's like fake
pat myself on the back.
Like you're like, I don't watch TV. People who say that like drive me nuts.
I watch a lot of TV.
I watch a lot of fucking
I only
TV.
have a podcast about TV shows. Right? Yeah.
So, another thing I heard is Ariana's reaching out to Paige to like team up, but I don't think Paige like went with it. So let's talk about that for 1 second because to me, with the Paige and Craig breakup, we dissected it and then we moved on and we're still rooting for Paige. With the Ariana and like Tom Sandoval, like we talked about that for like half a year.
Yeah.
And now if somebody were to want to talk to me about it, I would be like, I don't want to talk about Ariana. I don't want to talk about that. Ariana was on a podcast that I saw and she was talking about how AI is sapping the world of its like natural resources. And I'm like,
is this what Ariana's doing now?
Yes. Like how AI
gotten into?
Yeah, like uses a lot of water. And I'm like, okay.
Oh, okay.
I just think that Paige is so much more of like somebody that you want to know about and like root for. And Ariana, it's like we cheered for her, but now we're not like, I'm not interested to hear about what Ariana is doing anymore.
Yeah, not at all. I think Paige was way more a fan favorite on her show.
Yes.
I think people were very mixed on Ariana. And then it made her become the number one girl in the group.
Yeah.
But yeah, I think that was the difference where it was like, oh, we're supporting her now. I never really liked her. But okay, she's been wronged. I'll support her. Whereas like I always liked Paige.
We like to hate Tom Sandoval. Maybe that was it, right?
Versus
Paige, we just like love Paige.
Yeah, and I don't like hate Craig. Like it was a much more amicable split, as crazy as that sounds. Just because the other one was so horrible.
And it seems like Craig kind of knows a little bit of his like weaknesses when he yells out like, I'm a lawyer and a storyteller, you know, like Tom Sandoval was like a narcissist who like
He's
didn't
very
understand.
delusional.
Yeah, didn't understand anything. Anyway, I just wanted to pause and ask your thoughts on that. But so another thing, do you know the influencer Tinks?
Yes.
She was on, I think, Watch What Happens
Yep,
Live.
I saw it. Her and Lexi were on when Lexi was on for the second time.
Which Lexi, again, it's like,
oh my God.
speaking of being everywhere.
Freaking everywhere, and it's driving me nuts. She has a Applebee's commercial. I can't.
No, Jessica, she's drinking a mixed drink.
Yes. From Applebee's or Chili's.
Yeah,
it's one of those like
horrible
$10.
And she's like, I wanted to go try the like ombre margarita at Chili's, and it's like, oh, boo boo, this is your first.
Someone feed her line. I wanted to try the new limited edition.
I mean,
ombre. Yeah,
we're no influencers. I would love a Chili's deal where I got to drink a margarita and post it. I would love that, but to me, I've heard rumors that Lexi's followers are fake because she's got 1 million followers. Ooh. And this felt like this was her first influencer deal ever.
Wait, I want to see what it's, of course. I need those accounts that like constantly track how people's followers have increased from the start, because I'm wondering.
Because this doesn't feel like she's posted many of these.
1.2 million. So she got 200,000 since this season aired.
But I think somebody said she's dealing with a lot of bots. She has a lot of bots, which if you look at her, I think the key that you look at is like likes and comments, right? Some of her posts only have like 80 likes, you know. When you have 1 million followers, it seems like that should be higher.
Right.
Now, this is me. Like, I'm no social media savvy person at all, but I will go back to that Chili's commercial or that Applebee's, whatever that was. That felt like a noob doing an influencer commercial.
Yes.
Like, they did not feel like somebody who gets a ton of like deals.
Okay, this is so funny. Earlier today, she just, popped. You know how like now Instagram people just pop up on your timeline that you do not follow? Mm-hmm. Like, it's not even like on your For You page. It's just there. I was on her thing going, how do I not see her stuff? I didn't even like want her popping up. But now that I'm looking at her, on May 15th, she posted like her wearing a hoodie. You give me the ick because of the episode.
Yeah, she's cashing in a merch. It feels very, for somebody who's got 1 million followers, all this feels extremely newbie. You know, like.
It's the Chili's $6 color changing radical Rita, if anyone wanted the correct term.
Yeah. Look at her face. It's like so overacted, you know, like the stirring, the facial expression. Look at that. Like,
you will get diabetes after having one of these.
I mean, Jessica, let's go have those, but still, we're going to hate on that.
No, it's going to give you like gut rot.
Anyway, so back to Tinks on Watch What Happens Live. She does say that she went to one of the parties, right?
Yes.
And she ran around the party. First of all, I love Tinks because she said, like, I used all my clout to get invited to the party. Yeah. And then she ran around the party and tried to get, like, gossip about what was happening. Nobody would give it.
Bailey must have already been gone.
Yeah, right. And which I thought was really interesting. So those parties, we now have like deduced this.
Yes.
Those parties are friends of friends. Those people come. They have to sign NDAs probably. Yeah. They're not allowed in the house because Sierra was pushing them out with the broom, right? And then they use moments where the cast goes and talks to each other to like fuel the drama, but they don't involve anybody outside the house, right? Because they can't, right? Because that would mean that you're exposing some of the storyline. I feel like.
Oh yeah.
So it is pretty curated. I would say those parties are pretty curated.
Yeah.
And not to go back to Lexi, but to go back to Lexi at the Halloween party. I don't even know what their theme was. It wasn't Halloween, but
was it
things you're scared of?
Death to the summer death to something. Okay.
So Lexi could have had a look for the ages, right? Like, remember when the reunion happens and Wes is watching Sierra walk out and Sierra's got like strips of fabric covering her bits and bobs? Like, that's it. The revenge dress. Unfortunately, and I said this last time, but I'm going to bring it up again, because Lexi wears like club gear all of the time. Her look for that party was just kind of like her normal look.
It's impossible for her to do a slutty Halloween because every day is a bit slutty.
Right. Like, she would have worn that outfit to go grocery shopping. Yeah. You know? Yeah. So, unfortunately.
To go get the $6 color changing.
Yes, margarita at Applebee's. I think she was wearing it in that post. So, unfortunately for Lexi, this is her big culminating.
I'm going to show you.
I'm going to break up with you and show you how I look. And it's like the outfit, unfortunately, like just blended in.
Yeah. I think she kind of does it. She definitely has a very hot reunion dress. Like, I think she looked really good. The reunion dress. Did you see?
I mean, have you seen on Watch What Happens Live? Like, the abs are like popping.
I know.
I'm like, I think she would do almost better as like, if she gave us that ab workout. Lindsay and Danielle's conversation. So Lindsay in her confessional says like that usually she gets like really annoyed at the summers, and this is the first summer where she's not sitting there saying like, I don't have to go back to my real life. Did you catch that? Or like, I can't wait to go back to my real life.
Her entire confessional to me was just her fishing, going, Bravo, what are you going to cast me on?
Yeah.
I don't know where my money's going to come from. I don't know.
Yeah, right.
I don't know what the future holds. And it's like, she's like looking around like, does anyone know what my future holds? Like, where are you going to put me?
I just think though, it was a little disheartening to hear that like when she said that she goes back to her real life, that like, this is more staged, I think, than what we kind of.
I know.
Also, the delivery room video for Lindsay, like when they cut to that.
Yeah.
Jessica, you could have not paid me $10,000 to take a video of myself that would have aired on national TV after we delivered.
Yeah. I mean, she clearly had like makeup and glam done. Like, you can't tell me that was her after actually pushing. Also, like now having gone through it, the fact she walked in with her stuff, I was like, oh, she was induced. She walked in way too calmly. I was like, this is like a scheduled.
Yeah.
And it's because of her age. She got induced.
Also, did you catch when she brings everybody over and the baby, she's like, you can look at the baby. I'm like, that baby is napping in bright.
Yeah.
I was like, daylight.
Also, its arms were out. It's only like 1 month old. Those arms need to be swaddled, girl. Like
that whole thing. I think the baby was on its stomach.
I was dying laughing. Someone, again, an account I follow was talking about how, she like alluded to their biggest fights are that he's private and she's very public. And someone was like, Lindsay is dying to put that baby's face on TV. And he clearly is like, no face. Everything was the baby's turned away.
Yeah.
The baby was at the like Lindsay and Kyle were on Watch What Happens Live for this final. Again, maybe a bit like a sayonara kind of to them, like as the OGs. And Lindsay posted photos and Gemma was there and sat in Andy's chair, but she does like the big heart on her face,
So it's like shoulder face.
So,
it's okay.
So Turner probably
is like kibosing it.
Post her, yeah.
So the big thing that they were talking about on that Watch What Happens Live is that Craig says he brought the ring, and like, did he actually like bring it at all? And they both clearly now being able to be on Team Paige's side are like, no, he's a liar. He didn't. He didn't buy the ring. The thing that I think he's a liar, and I would be curious to get your thoughts. I don't think you can return a ring to a jeweler like you return something to Nordstrom.
Right. It's more like you have to pawn it.
Yeah, they have to buy it back.
Yeah.
So to sit there and be like, I returned the ring, to me is somebody who's never actually bought the ring. Because you can't just show up to like
those are kind of like final sale.
And he was buying a ring for Paige fucking DeSorbo. Like
he got it custom made, so then they don't just buy it back.
That to me is the sign that he didn't buy it because he didn't know. You can't do that.
Yeah. No, that's so true.
Anything else on Summy House?
Summy House. No. How many parts do you think the reunion's going to be? I actually would be okay with 2.
I would be okay with 2.
I just don't think, because I know what we will be talking about if it's 3 parts, so I'm hoping it's just 2.
Well, the one thing that I think they talk a lot about it actually is Lexi's press tour, and like Sierra gets quite mad at her for like bringing her up.
Okay.
Which I'm a little like, Sierra,
you kind of need to be mentioned.
Yeah, how and Lexi on Nick's podcast, by the way, she had already gotten yelled at by Sierra at that point, and she kept it very like factual. Like Sierra did go out to lunch with Jesse. That was what I saw on Instagram. I have a screenshot. Like she wasn't like implying anything, So and then what's the big announcement in your mind that Jesse speaks about?
I have no idea. I've seen all the rumors about it, but I've always been let down. So I just don't even want to dream up what I think it is, because the big announcement's going to be something so dumb. It's going to be like
Jesse's.
It's going to be like Carl's bar's open. It's like that was the big announcement.
Yeah, I think it's got to be something with Kyle and Amanda, because I think that's again why they put her as first seat.
Yeah, people are saying that she's pregnant, but no.
No, she's not. I think she's gonna. I think they're gonna try and stir up, whether fake or real, that something's going on with their marriage, like.
Because, this was like the first season we didn't have a relationship breakdown for them. So now at the reunion, let's have that they might get divorced.
Or that they're separated. Something like that.
Taking time apart.
Going through marriage counseling, something like that.
I think they're already in
counseling. I agree. Anyway, love it. I'll be sad when Summer House is over, but I am also tired of
what the season became about.
Yeah,
I'm over it. Yeah.
Okay, let's go on to the Valley.
The Valley.
We were just saying this before we started filming. Like, the Valley's always a little clunky. Just like, again, a relationship that I don't really care to keep talking about. Jesse and Michelle.
Ooh, I was kind of into that fight.
Okay.
That was interesting.
So let me ask you, Michelle, I've come to the conclusion of maybe why nobody can really like back her as we back Paige, as we back Ariana. And I think it's because her voice is very monotone, Jessica, and therefore it comes off as very boring.
Yeah.
Like the walk with her and Sheena when they were hiking,
God,
her voice didn't really change.
Yeah.
And she's talking to Sheena, like one of her good friends.
I love Erin so much.
Yes.
And my daughter, Isabella.
Jessica, I
have
have more inflection in my voice talking to you about like what I had for lunch.
Yeah.
Like the peanut butter pretzels that we're eating right now. I have more inflection. So I think
have
that's
more emotion towards them than she does towards her boyfriend.
Yes. I mean, and Sheena's like, your face just lights up when you talk about him. I'm like, really? I don't think that face has changed.
And Michelle is really trying to harp on that everyone met her season 1, and that is not her personality.
And I'm like,
and they're like, I haven't noticed much of a difference into season 2.
Yeah, like you're claiming it was vanilla to chocolate, and it's vanilla and then like low fat vanilla. Like it's really just kind of a different
vanilla
flavor.
to vanilla bean.
Yeah, we didn't notice that much of it, Michelle. Okay, so Santa Barbara.
Yes.
I mean, again, it feels like so long ago. First of all, it's
this is going to the winery.
Yeah, and it's a little bit weird. Jesse like controls the entire thing. He's such a little Debbie Downer, and then he gets weirdly drunk and like tries to like create like some sort of party.
Hammered on the bus on the way to the winery.
And then he sits at the winery, and I feel like he's just dying for someone to talk to him about wine.
Yeah.
Dying.
Yes.
Hoping to God. And the only person that talks to him about anything is Luke.
You caught them when Jesse's like, it looks like a Monet.
And
Luke's like, oh, I've never been there. He's like, Monet, like the painter.
But he just loves the fact that he gets to say, you're not cultured.
Yeah.
And he's swishing the wine in his glass and like doing the most like smelling. And then Danny comes and talks about the legs, and he's like, that's not what it's for. But no one like
no one cares. Everyone's like, we don't care.
No one indulges him past like those micro moments.
Yes. Oh my God.
What did you think then? So then, you know, the big thing is that Jesse and Michelle have their big argument at the winery.
Yeah.
And Michelle is now like pulling out the tea.
That a gay guy Venmo'd Jesse all that money, so she's like alluding to they
like,
had a relationship.
Yeah, like, oh, I could say that about you because you got it. And Zach like loses his mind that like she's now like involving like gay men in the
And then did you hear Zach was like, we don't want him. Don't bring me into this.
I know, poor Zach.
In typical Janet fashion, Janet and Jason were the guests on Watch What Happens Live. Actually, that might have been this most recent week. But Janet goes, oh, yeah, I figured out how much the Venmo was.
How much was it?
$2,500.
That's not that much.
But it was allegedly for Isabella's birthday. That's a very generous B-Day gift from someone who's not like a relative or...
Sure.
It sounded like it was a client, like real estate client, but...
Huh.
So come on, who's dropping...
Okay, that's weird, but to me, there's a lot that could explain that. Like, if Jesse bought him a bottle of wine and he was like comping him, if there was drugs going down, right? Like, I don't
Which now Michelle has been claiming Jesse's been doing drugs.
So Jesse provided some drugs and the gay guy provided some payment. Like, to me, there's like that could be explained. I have very little interest in like trying to dissect that. Jesse is like potentially like doing the dirty like with other like guys.
Yeah.
But Janet. Speaking of Janet, did you see this? I posted it online today.
Oh, the Al-Anon. Yes.
And then on Watch What Happens Live,
it's been getting edited out.
Yes. Andy asked them on Watch What Happens Live.
Saw it.
And it was between East and West Coast. The question was edited out. So for those that didn't see it, basically Janet is peddling a story that Nia went to Al-Anon, which is where you go when you have a family member who's had...
Or you yourself.
I think you just go to AA if it's yourself.
Oh,
Al-Anon is specifically for people who have had family members who go through drugs or alcohol.
I did not know the differentiation.
So Janet is saying that Nia went to Al-Anon because of Danny.
Yeah.
And first of all, so messy to be saying that.
So
because
horrible.
It's supposed to be anonymous.
Yeah.
That's what the Anon stands for, is anonymous. And So what Bravo is doing that Hayu, Hayu,
Yeah.
the other network that's running Bravo stuff, is
Yeah.
not doing is Bravo's editing it out.
Yeah.
And Hayu is showing it.
Yeah. Well, I recorded. Clearly, I guess Central gets basically the Eastern viewing. So my Watch What Happens Live had it, but I never caught it in the actual episode.
I saw it on Reddit, and the Hayu people who you can't get Hayu in the United States.
It's for like Australia and Europe.
So they're saying, did anyone catch this? Like Australia is like throwing up the clip on Reddit, and I'm like, oh my god! First of all, it makes so much more sense why she's bringing that up in that way. Second of all, like Janet, how dare you?
I know, especially where she keeps trying to conflate the two, going, I dated someone, so then you should frickin' know that you don't bring it up yet. No, Janet is so messy.
And I don't get why they're going after Nia for trying to just like
downplay it,
like protect her marriage to some extent. I mean, Brittany's done it. Paige has done it.
Yeah.
Ari and Tom have done it.
Yeah.
Like everybody has done it where you sit there and say, I'm not going to air every dirty laundry piece.
I do see both sides, because haven't we kind of complained that Nia is too much like, we'll talk about that off camera, Danny. And it's like, no, but you are on a show.
Sure. Yeah.
So I do get the frustration from the other cast members a bit like, oh, come on, you guys don't get to be the angelic couple.
Right.
But I understand as well protecting it a bit. That's what makes me realize they are a real, you know what I mean? Like Nia is very like, we are not letting this break us. We're not going on a show and being another couple that gets divorced.
But here's the difference just in my mind is like they're trying to make Danny's drinking a thing. I do not think it's a thing. Yeah. I don't think, even if she went to Al-Anon, I don't think that it is a thing.
Right.
Like I wrote a little list of notes of people who have gotten way drunker. James Kennedy, Lala, Dorinda, Sonia, Luann, Craig, Shep, Jack, Stassi, Kyle Richards, Sutton, Erica Jane, Tom Schwartz, Brittany, Kristen, Katie, like they've all gotten way more drunker than Danny.
On camera. Mind you, Danny's bad thing was not when they were filming.
So the fact that they're bringing this up and then they're getting mad at Nia for like not talking, it feels like they're trying to make something that's not a thing.
Yeah.
And that's why she's kind of like, why are we like going on and on about this? Mm-hmm. You know, and then she re-relays all of the homelessness to kind of be like, I'm willing to talk about stuff.
Like real stuff. Yeah.
But this is not a real thing.
Something that is interesting to me, which I always knew that Jasmine had been on The Bachelor, which is funny because she's a lesbian, but she was on it.
I think she's bi, by the way, just to clear.
Oh, okay. Thank you. But how funny she was on Nick Vial's
season.
Oh,
shut up.
And someone's like, can Nick Vial please have Jasmine on?
Yeah,
like, because of the history.
I think she made it kind of far, you said, too, right?
Medium far. Enough that I remembered her, and this was years ago that he was The Bachelor. So I did remember her from that. She was on another dating show, and she was on something about being a cheerleader. Like, I think she was a dancer in a past life. So people are like, someone's like, oh, okay, so Jasmine just wants to be famous.
Yeah.
And so I just feel like she is grabbing at straws to bring up the Halloween thing.
Yeah, right.
And it's like, it's a whole summer later.
Right. Yeah.
Like, that is her thing for Danny.
It's too late.
Yeah. So I just am also like, oh, Jasmine, like, okay, I get it. You were like, he inappropriately touched you. I don't want to like downplay who has that not happened to, but like it sounds like he really apologized to you. So you either have to get over it or you don't want to interact with him anymore. So you're on the show with him. So what's it going to be?
Michelle and Jesse's fight.
Yes. Like the fight at the winery and then back at the house. Oh my gosh.
I mean, first of all, Jesse's headband, that headband that he wears.
It's literally indented into his head.
I think he looks disgusting with it.
Yeah. Disgusting.
Which, by the way, we didn't talk about this last time, but his like tidy whities that he had on when he was telling Jason to get out of the room.
But they were like gray.
And like loose.
Ew.
He just thinks he's so cultured and so kind of like couth and like all this stuff and like all that. And he's just not. But their fight to me is like, Michelle, if you remember at the winery, she sits there and she throws the first shot and she goes, "You are a disaster."
Yeah.
And then he like loses it.
Right.
It's just weird to me that like Michelle really thinks of herself. Both of them think of themselves as totally and 100% in the right.
Yeah.
And that is the part that I'm just so irritated by this fight.
Yeah. that's where they're never going to compromise.
And
get
as
along.
viewers, we're like, we don't love either one of you.
Yeah. Not rooting for either of you. But
funny-
who I am rooting for, Isabella. She is the freaking cutest little girl.
It's so smart.
Yeah. I was dying laughing when she was like, that like FaceTime call she had. And she's like, where'd you put the key? In the fridge. And then like, she's like, oh my God.
And she puts the key to her face and she goes, it's not even cold. I'm like, that's kind of smart that she would have like been like, oh, it was in the fridge for like a day and then now it should be cold against my face.
She is so cute.
She's
that is
super
the
cute.
only thing where I'm like, oh, this is really sad that they're so like at each other's throats because their daughter's adorable.
What did you think about Sheena's? Oh my God, Jessica.
What?
We see Luke buying Kristen's ring at
Kyle Chan's.
I was like, my pregnancy.
How many carats did he say it was?
I thought it was 14,000. I thought that's the one he said.
That's the cost, but how many carats?
Oh, I don't know.
See, I thought he said it was 3-something carats, and I'm like, sorry, that's more than 14K. But
I don't know. I didn't catch the carat. I just
correctly.
thought it was crazy that we were back in Kyle Chan's jewelry store.
I mean, does he just make enough off that cast, like, alone?
So those who don't remember Kyle Chan, he was
popped
basically
up everywhere on Vanderpump.
and he was Tom Sandoval's like only friend in the final days.
Oh, yeah.
And then if you remember, they were actually filming like very key like scenes at his jewelry store.
And then the huge fight was at his launch thing in
Yes,
San Francisco.
His bourbon launch. Like he was a very critical.
Wait, that was a bourbon launch?
Yeah, it was not.
It wasn't
jewelry.
even jewelry.
Mm-hmm.
Oh my God! Look at you. Like, okay, this is Lauren. This is why we can't remember anything because we, in the back of our minds, you knew that was a bourbon launch party for Kyle Chan.
Okay, so I wanted to go back to Sheena for 1 second because I wrote all this stuff down.
Yeah.
So Sheena, everyone jokes online, check on Sheena, right? Sheena makes it about herself.
Yeah.
Here are the things that Sheena made about herself in this very smallest amount of airtime that she's had.
Okay.
On the hike, she was talking about how she was showing her daughter her own home videos of dance recitals.
Yep.
And how good she was and how her makeup looked.
And how much they look alike.
Then on the after show, again, she's literally been on the Valley show for less than 7 minutes.
Oh.
On the after show, she talks about her hall pass because that's the conversation that everyone has. And her hall pass is Dr. Dre, which is so weird.
What?
Yes. And then apparently they see Dr. Dre, her and Brock, and at a party, and she goes to talk to him, and Brock goes, wait a second, the hall pass might actually be coming to life, and therefore, I should probably take back the fact that she can go sleep with him. So then she makes that about him. Then she also makes about the fact that her girl hall pass would be Miley Cyrus, and she knows Miley Cyrus. I mean, it's just like, Sheena, in the amount of time that you've been on TV, you've turned the conversation towards you like 3 or 4 times.
Yeah, she's great at that. But, people like that drive me nuts.
Let's see here. Zach, I want to talk to you a little bit about him.
Yeah.
So he is like the referee in between the Brittany Nia fight.
Yeah.
Zach was on Watch What Happens Live, and did you see this?
Yes.
He kept saying like, well, America, we'll see.
Yeah.
And Andy's finally like, why do you keep like referencing America?
Yeah.
Andy, to me, that was like gay on gay, like hate. Like Andy's like a little like not impressed by Zach, and Zach's clearly trying to make it. Jessica, this is his chance.
Yeah.
He's going to be the most
Andy
petty.
to like him.
Yes.
Yeah.
He's going to be the most sassy. He's going to give the most face. Zach's face, like, I wish there was just a camera on his face the entire time.
Very expressive.
Very.
I feel like he gets Botox, but he does a good job because he can still really move his face.
He expresses best.
Speaking of like petty stuff, I know I told you before how Michelle Michelle was on with Zach and she gave the honey. When Janet and Jason were on, they
Watch What Happens Live.
Yeah, on Watch What Happens Live. I forget what Jason. I think Jason was asked, "Do you like Aaron, or what do you think of Michelle's boyfriend?" And he was all, of course, usual Jason, like complimentary and all that. And he's like, "The honey is really good. Like, I'm not just saying it." And he's like, "Andy, have you had?" And Andy's like, "I haven't opened it yet." I told you Andy was so annoyed Michelle gave him the honey, and he was like, "Nope, not even gonna say I tried it." And like,
can I just say,
good.
like, I'm thinking about that honey.
Okay,
I'm kind of into
maybe
it now.
we should get it. Should we see if it
But
ships?
Jessica, think of how many people are probably doing that too.
Yeah.
Like that Aaron really lucked out with this honey.
Yeah.
Okay, so by the way, on the after show, Zach and Brittany said that Jax was actually diagnosed with bipolar disorder once before this moment. So on the
Okay.
show, he's diagnosed, and they said he was actually diagnosed once before, and he got medicine, or he was given a prescription to get the bipolar medicine, and he never filled it. So now his story, classic like Jax, is like, I'm so relieved I finally have this like diagnosis. I can like get.
And it's like, no, you knew.
You knew that.
And you weren't.
And that's where everybody's just like, oh my God, he's so toxic.
Yeah.
And by the way, in the after show, he calls Brittany and texts her like 4 or 5 times
while she's filming
and
it.
she picks up and says, I'm filming.
Oh my gosh.
Isn't it crazy?
Yeah.
I mean, I just think
wild.
that's PSA to everyone. Like it's who you have a kid with. It's not who you marry. You can divorce somebody. It's who you have a kid with.
Yeah.
She's never going to be able to get rid of him.
Yeah.
Jessica.
They're tied together.
For life.
Yeah.
Yikes.
Yeah. I will say that Love Hotel is kind of losing.
Really?
I've lost interest. It's only been like 2 episodes.
I mean, I've not really kept up with Vanderpump Villa. It's good, but it's
I still have 1 episode left. I have the final episode of Vanderpump Villa.
the real, what is it? I always want to call it the real Mormons.
Oh, Secret Lives of Mormon
Mormon Wives. If you're not watching that, it's not Bravo, so we're not going to cover
it's
it.
Hulu,
But it is
so good.
fabulous.
Yeah.
I think the weirdest part of it for me is the fact that they're like 24 and they've all gone through one marriage and they all have 3 kids and they're 24.
Yeah.
So they're beautiful.
Yeah.
All of them are beautiful.
Yeah.
They're all like the bodies are amazing after having like 3 kids. They're still pushing them out. Did you see all of them are pregnant again?
Yeah. Michaela is 24 and she's having her 4th.
Macy's having her 2nd or 3rd.
I think 3rd.
And then Jen is having her 3rd.
3rd.
And they're all
Whitney
below
just
the age
had-
of 30.
Yeah, all of them are. There's a few, like Whitney's 31, Taylor is actually 30.
Yeah.
Again, this is all when they filmed it. So when they put their ages, I'm assuming that was like last year ages.
Right.
So whatever, add a year.
But they're all beautiful. They all have, and then they have drama like they're in their 20s.
Yes.
So it's like they have houses, they have husbands, and
Yeah.
they have kids, but then the drama is still the drama of your 20s.
Yes. Lots
Which
of
is crazy.
cheating. Yeah. Lots of, you didn't invite me to that party.
Yeah.
and-
You didn't show up here. You unfollowed me.
yeah,
you,
the unfollowing
You got
really
out of the
bothers
chat.
them. You left the group chat.
Yeah.
Yes.
And what I like about it is it's now the new era of reality TV that we just need to own, that they know they're making money off the show. They're
Yeah.
clear about that.
Yeah.
They're clear that they're making money off of Mom
Right.
Talk. And they're not acting like their lives are like non-influencers. They're just, that is the reality show. They're influencers.
I think it was episode 6. Have you seen the one where they're in Arizona at the dinner and they're literally very fourth wall breaking? Taylor calls out Demi for requesting to be paid the most.
Yeah.
They're straight up talking about their contracts on the show.
And
I was like, whoa, I don't know if we've ever had, like, housewives have never discussed their salary.
Right. Bravo is still in the era where, like, oh, we're following people's lives and they just happen to be filmed. This is finally like, thank God we're finally breaking this a little bit. And they're like, no, we're being filmed. And
they're all going, why is so-and-so coming back?
Miranda.
Why is Miranda and why is Whitney want back in? And they're like, because they're seeing what a cash cow this is.
Right, because they want clout, because they want that.
Yeah.
Which, by the way, can I just debate for 1 second? My mom yesterday decides that she is going to recommend that I become an influencer yesterday.
Oh, okay.
Because she wasn't exactly sure what an influencer was, and then she read an article in the New York Times.
It's a really good idea.
And it's really lucrative, and she said, Lauren, you should become an influencer. Like,
You're like, if only it were that easy.
Jessica, and then she started breaking down to me, like, will you get, like, brand deals? I'm like, yes, I know, yes,
Thank
yep.
you. Well aware.
Oh
That's
my
what
God.
we're trying to do here.
She's like, I'll send you the article from New York Times. I'm like, I don't need an article to tell me what an influencer does. I know.
I would also be like, it's behind a paywall and I can't read it.
If you can pay that $1.99, you can send me the full thing.
Step 1, I need a New York Times brand deal.
So if you're not watching Secret Lives of Mormon Wives,
great fill-in.
you got to do it.
For the lighter summer Bravo schedule.
And just true reality, like back to the glory days.
Yes.
Like, no one has a fake storyline because they're all just 20s with, like, they're like playing house, all of them.
I know. It boggles my mind. I'm like, damn, I really am, like, way behind. The fact a 24-year-old's having her 4th kid. I'm like, oh my God.
I know, right? Oh my God. We're just that generation, Jessica.
Yeah. Are you going to watch, speaking of next generation or next gen, whatever
When does
they're
it
calling
start?
I think it's early June.
I think we have to.
Yeah.
Because Bravo always has like a big dry spell coming up.
Yeah, I know.
And Real Housewives of Miami seems
because
to
they
be
assume we're like out living our lives in
And
the
we're
summer,
not.
but we're not. So I need TV.
But Real Housewives of Miami is coming.
Yes. Oh, thank God.
It's supposed to be really
good. Yes. Love
And then
Miami.
Next Gen is coming.
Yeah.
So we got some stuff coming. I'm not going to do Below Deck again, Jessica.
Okay, fine. That's fine.
But
There is a Below Deck med starting up.
Oh my God.
There's always one. Literally one ends and the next week, the next version starts.
I mean,
So Below Deck Down Under is ending in a week or two and med starts the following week.
oh, good.
That's why I stay with Below Deck. Like, it's constant. But it's on Mondays, so I love it. It's just something on a Monday to watch.
All right. Anything else?
No.
Jessica, what are the kids talking about these days? Jessica, oh my God, I have a bone to pick with you on this.
Uh-oh.
So do you remember I think it was 2 episodes ago on Summer House, they were testing Kyle on all of the Gen Z words.
Yep.
And I was like, I don't know any of these, Jessica. Zombieing, roaching.
Yeah, I had not heard of some of those. A few I had heard of. I can't even remember them
There was
now.
3, zombie, roaching, and something else.
Lauren, we'll do another segment. I thought
I thought I was up to date on what are the kids talking about.
First of all, I thought you were actually about to applaud me because we already did that game when I did it with you.
But it was not any of those words.
No, it wasn't. So I need to do a refreshed. The kids are always saying new words, Lauren. We have to.
I mean, zombieing, we know. We don't have to go into that one. But roaching, and then there was one other one. I can't remember. All right, Jessica, what are the kids talking about?
Yeah, no, this was where I was like, I have a bone to pick with Gen Z because of my topic. I just saw a funny Instagram where it just said, "Hey, Jessica, Gen Z thinks you're old," and I was like, "What the?" And then the thing is, these are the old names according to Gen Z, and I was laughing at how many of my friends' names are on here. Lauren, you are not.
Perfect. Thank God.
Lucky you. Granted, it's like 20 names.
But Jessica, also, Jessica's becoming like the Karen.
No.
A little bit.
No.
Okay, but I want to hear the names.
Okay, like, I can tick off how many I know. Okay, so first of all, Ashley. I have a friend, Ashley. Amanda. Jessica. Stephanie. How many
Stephanie,
Stephanies?
yeah.
Kelly.
Oh, God.
Okay, then Jennifer. That's my boss's name. So she's a little older. Christy. Oh, your mom. Tracy. Stacy. Amy.
A lot of the E's.
Crystal. Angela. Lisa. Jordan. Michelle. Shelly. Laura.
These are like names. These are just like name. They're just
But
like naming names.
But some of these are, I think, even the generation above us. Lori, Kathy. There's no millennial named Kathy.
No.
Tammy, Heather, and Angie. Oh, Heather and Angie, too, Salt Lake City housewife names right at the end. See, they're like a generation above.
I like Gen Z, what are your names? Like Blade?
Of grass.
Like Sunny? Just
So, yeah, but it's so interesting. I mean, you probably went through it, like when we were trying to pick baby names. It is such a, you do a bit of research, and out of curiosity, I did Google because you can look at the social security list to see the top 20 most popular, whatever. And I looked at Jessica, and I asked, ChatGPT, when was Jessica the most popular? And it was from 85 to 89. I was like, exactly.
Yeah, right. Gosh.
Clearly our parents weren't looking at those lists.
So needless to say, Jessica's child is not named Jessica the Second.
No.
Jessica Jr.
Yeah. Never. Did you ever hate your name growing up? Did you wish you had a different name?
No, I because no one ever got my name wrong. You know who gets my name wrong is corporate America. They always call me Laura.
Oh, really?
Yes, and I'm like, Laura's not my name.
That's weird.
Yeah, I've never been called more Lauras than at my current job.
Weird.
Yes, isn't that crazy?
Mine, I just get Jennifer, but that's because it's my manager and people mix us up, Jessica, Jennifer. So it's not like they don't know the name Jessica. That's my only thing, but no one ever gets it wrong.
Alrighty, conspiracy theories.
Yes.
All right, so these are both about space.
I mean, that just seems like the new...
I know. It's
We're
conspiracy.
always hearing about something
100%.
with space, yeah.
All right, so Apollo 11 was the astronauts that went to the moon. Buzz Aldrin and Neil Armstrong, right?
Yeah.
Apollo 11. Apparently during that, this was just mentioned recently. This is not like trending, but apparently during the moon landing, there was 2 minutes that people claim they lost contact with the astronauts.
Oh, okay.
Now, apparently there's different perspectives of if they actually lost audio, if it was just patchy. NASA says the audio's there. It's just patchy. Conspiracy theorists say it completely went down.
Okay.
NASA says it's because, that's normal. It was routing through Australia and California. There was normal patchy communication. Anyway, the conspiracy theorists say it's the lost 2 minutes of Apollo 11. And during that time, Neil Armstrong apparently had switched to a medical channel and said something like, they're here. They are parked on the side of the crater, and they're watching us. Oh, my God, it gives me goosebumps.
Oh, God, that did just give me goosebumps. So, like, aliens.
Yes, and so medical channel, I did some research on this. The astronauts had this medical channel that was private to, like, anyone else listening to them.
Okay.
In case they had, like, stuff going on that they needed to talk about. Like, I pooped my pants. I just touched down on the moon, and I've lost all ball control.
What do I do about the floating poop in my spacesuit?
The medical officer would say, well, keep it in there. We don't want litter on the moon. So anyway, the conspiracy theories is they switched over to this medical channel, which was private.
Wait, Lauren, I'm just dying thinking that, like, for this many years we've had the, like, oh, was I not muted, like, on Zoom when you say something in a group, like, work call, and you're like, oh my God, I wasn't muted.
Can you imagine being
I thought I was on the medical channel.
Yeah. Anyway, so Neil Armstrong passed away already. He passed away at 82. Buzz Aldrin is still alive. He's in 95.
Wow.
He's the last surviving crew member, and he at one point claimed that he did see a UFO during that, like, moon landing. But then he later came back and said, no, actually, it's this panel that when a rocket goes into space, apparently, like, they lose these panels that are supposed to come off the ship.
Yeah.
And then they kind of float in space.
So he saw his own spaceship panel.
Yeah, so then he clarified, I saw my own spaceship panel.
He's like, the government visited me and I saw my own spaceship panel.
Yeah, right.
I was very confused for all those years.
But then he's also, I mean, he's kind of an older guy. And then I think he was also an alcoholic after he got back down. So he's had some slip-ups, and he was also kind of, there's voice audio of him saying, like, well, we didn't actually go to the moon, all that, right? So he's fed a lot of conspiracy theories
He's a
himself.
hot mess.
But, of course, this is just feeding, like, the so what is, like, obviously people think aliens exist, right? And the government has been hiding it from us.
Yeah.
That's been all the trend recently, is that there's now been released documents of UFOs and all this stuff. And a lot of times they're pretty unexplained incidences, but this is fueling that. I think there was a documentary that came out, not recently, but maybe years ago, where some ex-NASA guy said, no, he switched over to the medical channel, and it's all classified, but he basically said this about the aliens.
That, yeah. So this is an interesting subset of conspiracy theorists who believe we went to the moon, and then believe they're aliens.
That somebody, it's a good call, Jessica. Yes. So the moon is there. That did happen, but he.
Oh, the moon is there. There is a moon.
There is a moon, and because some people believe the moon is fake.
Oh my God, are you for real?
And we did go to the moon, and then during the moon launch, he actually saw the aliens.
Okay.
So yes, you're
There's
right.
a lot of layers.
A lot of layers.
Yeah.
The second one is actually about the moon, the second conspiracy theory. So we're right on trend here.
If you believe it exists.
So if you believe it exists, keep listening. If not, swipe on. So this kid apparently took 2,000 images of a moon and then combined them and really got this high level image of the moon. And NASA separately also kind of did their own research. But apparently on the moon is rusting. Have you heard this?
No.
And it's this color of rust, and you can see it in these images. And then also, I think India sent up like an orbiter, and like the orbiter also caught that the moon is rusting. Okay. So what do you need for something to rust? Oxygen and water. Yeah. Which is really weird because the moon is not supposed to have any oxygen. Yeah. It does have water. It's like we learned this in like school. It's like frozen. Yeah. But you need oxygen.
Because it's cold up there?
Yes, right. You need oxygen, which the moon doesn't have. So that's like the weird part about it. And the conspiracy theorists of it say, it's basically like said in the Bible that when the moon starts to turn red...
Lauren, not another end of world thing?
And the sun, it like goes dark, that's like the end of days.
So coinciding with the Pope.
Right. So they're saying like as the rust spreads on the moon and it turns more red, it's like coinciding with like the day's ending.
Okay.
Also, there's many things that you could branch off of this, right? That like there's climate up there, there's living existence up there, that they've downplayed this all to us, that they've downplayed the rust. I researched, I'm like, so what does NASA say is happening?
Right.
Why is the moon rusting?
Yeah.
And what they said, which I think actually makes a lot of sense, is when the Earth goes past the moon, basically it like the Earth's electromagnetic kind of like atmosphere leaves a little bit of oxygen like behind on the moon's surface, which gives the oxygen of the oxygen water. Jessica's not believing this at all.
No, sorry. How's that floating all the way from Earth to moon?
Like the electromagnetic, like atmospheric.
You lost
like,
me already. Yeah.
is like rubbing off on the moon, and then the moon is like using that oxygen and its water to create like a rust.
Okay.
What I thought was weirder is that like some kid like took 2,000 images and like created this.
What kind of camera does he have? What's he working with?
Just got
Watch, it'll be like the new iPhone.
I know, right? It's an ad.
i20.
I'm like, why is NASA not doing this? But
right.
NASA is interesting to me because it's like probably one of the nerdiest organizations ever in life, point blank, period. But also like can never really explain what is going on with any
Always
like.
seems a step behind. Other people are like calling things into question. They're like, oh, we'll look into that.
Yeah, right. Like the one India orbiter that went up and saw like rust. It's like, why didn't we send another one up?
Right.
Why didn't we take a sample of that
maybe
rust?
Maybe a follow-up needed?
Yeah, right. Like it's just a bunch of like nerdy scientists who are like, yeah, that's weird.
Yeah, no idea.
Clearly they don't watch reality TV.
Thanks, 10-year-old Billy, for putting in the work.
Don't watch reality TV, Jessica, because reality TV is like we want the receipts, the proofs, and the timelines. Like NASA does not. They don't care. They're like, yeah,
pretty unbothered.
Unbothered.
Unbothered queens.
Yes. Anyway, NASA, get with it. Get us the 2 minutes. And then get the damn moon figured out.
Send some housewives to the moon. Yeah. Oh my God. There we go. New series.
Anyway, Jessica, great talking to you.
You too, Lauren.
Bye.
Bye.